Good morning, Space Kittens. Welcome to Morning Space Chat, Bitches, Brew, and Bubble Tea. Recording this on May 9th, 2023. And
good morning.
I have my cup of flowers and some leftover birthday cake. Oh, you've got your, I love you brought your Raven cup today.
Brought my Raven lunatic mug as promised.
Love the color scheme too. Yeah, and I've got leftover birthday cake from my partner's birthday this weekend, which was really nice.
Yay, happy birthday, Mike.
Yes, happy birthday, Mike. He is a cutie. Actually, that ties in with one of the topics. I want to talk about something relating to Marie Kondo later. And and it also has to do with Mercury retrograde. And then we're also just going to catch up a little bit about what we've been up to since the last time we recorded. I should say this is a different type of podcast than our regular episodes, which are beautifully edited by Dread Pirate KK, and they come out in audio on whatever way you stream them. And these are available as video, little morning shows that we're going to be doing regularly, and they're available on video through Spotify. And they also come out through the regular audio way as well. So you might be hearing this as a audio as well. But if you can, check us out on the Spotify one, because it's fun to like imagine us
be in our energy,
in our faces. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Daddy.
Let's hear
it. So, I think the name of the episode, I think it was in the title, where I did an oracle reading for 2023, and I went through a children's book that was like compiled children's stories.
New Lunar Year Who Dis is the title.
Thank you. And the most hilarious part, it was very cute and sometimes a bit stressful, was like,
you did a lot of work.
Big year. But definitely the most hilarious part was it opened up to the stories that are like, what do daddies do? Anyway, it's just like a very
so great,
hilariously kinky children's stories. Like, daddies are sailors and daddies can do anything and they love you so much. Anyway, we did that way back in like late January, early February. And I had no idea. I was like, I know, okay. Like, I'm like, okay, so we're going to be supported by daddy energy. I didn't know what that meant. It turned out in my case to be very literal in some ways. But very much things like systems or people that we associate with paternal energy that we may have thought we weren't, like we were kind of leaving behind old, or associate them with like old systems that are crumbling. And it's like, well, they might still be coming through for you. And you might be getting their gifts more than their burdens. You know what I mean? Like leaving behind that. So cut to a dream I had where we've also talked about Mintakan on this show, which is that like planet that always shows up as like an underwater planet for me. And it has a lot of feminine energy, and been going through a whole cycle of healing around Mintakan. Anyway, so I've been connecting more with underwater species and my parts of myself and aspects of myself that are connected to Mintakan. And so, but it's always been very feminine. So a couple of days ago, I had a dream, and I was swimming underwater, and there were sharks and orcas passing underneath me. And those are I think those are two animals that I'm very connected to through Mintakan. And there was a friend of mine who has a lot of daddy energy, and he was definitely my father in another. We have had like that dynamic. He was there, and then he was in the water with me, and then I got out of the water and like literally had a conversation with my dad, and my dad was inviting us to like stay at his house and stuff. And so
that's cool.
Yeah. And it was like, it was a very chill dream, and I didn't feel, even though it was like sharks and orcas, and they were a bit like, they were themselves, they have their scary side. I wasn't scared of them in the water. The water is still a bit murky. It felt like it's like
Still clearing stuff.
Still clearing, but it was a sunny day. And
good.
And I was like, oh, this just makes sense. Finally, the masculine and feminine energies are like integrated, and we're like receiving benefits from the earth, but not just, it could apply to earth too. Like we call it Mother Earth, but like she has masculine components as well. So it's like we're receiving those benefits, but they're integrated now. So I'm able to see them from the daddy side. And not just like Mother Earth side and stuff. And anyway, I've been getting relentless daddy sayings of GoDaddy ads everywhere and stuff. And then you got one as well. That was really funny and tailored to you.
Yeah, I was driving to the women's circle thing that I went to the day of the eclipse, so May 5th. And I was passing this billboard and I had already almost passed it. So like I just caught a glimpse, and it said, I think it was trash services, and it was like dumpster daddy or dumpster daddies or something like that. And I was like, well, it's on the nose. And now that you're talking about
you being a trash goddess.
Yes. Thank you for finishing my thought that I can never, there's so many thoughts that I'm like, it makes all the sense in my head, and then like only parts of it come out. I just need my Sagittarius translator. Thank you, Zaddy Cat. There was also a dream I had. It was a very brief thing. I haven't actually told you about it yet because I kind of didn't really think about it. And because when you were talking about the masculine energies of the earth, like that green giant energy that we've talked about before, sort of like a non-verbal, or at least in dreams we have of them or interactions we have with the green giant energy, it's very like, it's like, the guy has trouble talking, or like just doesn't say a lot, period. And it's more that connecting with telepathy or just being there energetically or whatever it is. And in the dream that I had, I was with a guy, and I follow him on, he does transmissions sometimes, and he talks a lot about circuitry. Anyway, so I wasn't surprised. He's shown up in my dreams a couple of times before, but this time we were at a house party and we were sitting next to each other on the couch. And I think there must have been like a lot of noise or something, because he was having so much trouble talking. Like it's like the effort it took to talk was like so much. And so he wanted to tell me things, but it was more like, can you please just take it out of my brain? Like a transmission or a telepathy or something like that. And he was talking about, there was something I needed to do for myself. And I knew it had something to do with little, I don't know, mixes and stuff that he creates, that he puts in water for cleanses and, whatever it was. And he was like, yeah, you just go to the refrigerator. The things that you need are in the water, and just drink it and you'll, anyway, it was a very simple message, but it was so hard for him to get it out. And that was the extent of the dream. There was nothing else really there. And I did go to the fridge and drink the water or whatever. So I don't know if it was a message more about, memories and stuff coming back, or like, I kind of woke up from the dream thinking that I needed to up level my care that I take with my water and food and things like the stuff that I'm ingesting, because I don't know. It was just a thought I had when I was waking up. And then like a couple of days later, I did try to do one of my things where I like allow myself to have a sandwich at my favorite restaurant, even though I'm gluten intolerant, whatever. And I was like, but it's fine if I prepare myself, whatever. I did not have an enjoyable experience with that sandwich. And I was like, I think this might be the last time I get to do that. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to treat myself. I'm not going to be hung up on food and make it weird or whatever. It just means I need to take extra care, I guess, on a lot of the things that I'm doing. So apparently the green giant was coming through for some transmission about water and nutrients, and I don't know, whatever you get out of it, maybe nothing, but that was just the dream that I had that kind of ties into more daddy energy.
That makes sense. And I mean, the green giant is such a great example of how Earth already has. We've also been getting Bigfoots too, so another very masculine, like supportive Earth energies. To they're being like, we've always been here.
Mm-hmm.
The Earth has always been masculine as well, and don't worry.
Yeah. Good
Um,
point. Good point.
but we were talking about how we're just reaching the halfway point of integrating earth energy in May. And I think at least while we're integrating that earth energy and really getting in tune with our bodies, those kinds of that kind of attention is that's like when we have to pay the most attention. And I don't know, I don't have a strong feeling of whether or not that means that changes that you make during that time will then be that way forever, or if it's just like right when you're focusing so much on like integrating, like your body just needs you to be as careful and gentle on it as possible. So like,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was even noticing that I was having trouble with the meat on the sandwich. It didn't taste off like it was bad. Like I knew it was not expired or something like that. It didn't taste. Oh, it was just a bit, I don't know what it was. I can't even describe it, but I was like, okay, I think and it's not that I don't want to eat meat anymore. I think I'm still a meat eater, but I need to know that the meat is, raised well and cared for. And, I don't know what it is, but I just need to be more careful about what I'm ingesting, and it's lifetime.
yeah,
Energy exchange.
and I just always want to say like it's so tailored and unique that I don't want anyone listening to like feel like if they hear us say something about a change to our diet that means they have to do anything to their diet. It's like so hyper unique.
Yeah.
So it's like really following your own guidance. It was very interesting to me when I like felt, I was like, whoa, okay, I am pivoting way off of meat in my life. And it was last fall, and it was just like, nope, it's happening. And just kept felt like a wave that I was getting swept up in. And it was just so interesting because I've like it had been a whole story for me my whole life of like wanting to be vegetarian but really craving meat, and then also like my body sometimes like really craving meat because I have such heavy periods and stuff, and not letting and like turning it into a whole rigmarole. And then this was just like, no, it's just happening. Like there was no story or anything, or it was just like nope. And it's been
Exactly.
like that since then, and I'm like, okay, just following. And yeah, definitely. Well, wait, there was something else about the daddy, but this does connect to, I wanted to say that it does connect to the other thing I wanted to talk about, the Marie Kondo thing.
Oh yeah.
But I'll just go back for 1 second back to the daddy, which is, I feel like it really is like, anyway, at least for me personally, so much of my awakening journey had to do with my relationship with my father, and it was like a big propulsion point and stuff. And I was like, it really comes down to like feeling safe receiving from my dad and my mom too, but there was a big storyline around receiving from my dad, receiving any kind of support, and not like on my terms. And what that stands for metaphorically from our relationship to the universe that supports us, and like the earth and the planets and the solar system and stuff, is like it was clearing out like all of that. Like there was like a lot of like feelings of indebtedness or guilt or whatever, or it's not safe to receive, or it comes with like all these strings. And it was just like letting go of all of that and just allowing yourself to receive no matter what you think of yourself. And if you think you are worth receiving. It's like no matter what, you just by virtue of merely existing, that kind of lesson. But it's like takes a long time to actually filter through and like hit and stuff. So I felt like that dream was also just kind of clarified for me. I was like, right.
Yeah, you're doing some real good work, especially because it's showing up in your dreams as, you know, it's sunny out and there might be a little bit of murkiness in the water, but you're doing a lot and you're doing a good job. So thanks for the work you're doing for the hive.
Okay. So Mercury retrograde. Right now we've got just under, I guess we're getting close. We've got maybe 6 days left. We're getting towards the end.
Yeah, I think it goes direct on the 14th. So yeah, we're at but then we've got 2 weeks of shadow, which is fine. But like, I never count myself out of Mercury retrograde until shadow. That shadow period is usually the one that gets me. But anyway.
Okay. What have you found any themes that have been jumping out at you?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me, because yes, I do. And it's actually super well timed that you wanted to talk about this in the podcast, because just last night I was going to talk to you about it today anyway, so we'll just talk about it live on the pod. But one of the things that came back around for me, I was having some internet issues the past 3 months. There was like weird billing stuff. And anyway, it doesn't matter. It's long story short. It's like, we finally got it settled. I had its big credit, you know, it was going to be, it's great. And then oh yeah, right. It should have been just set to go. But then I was checking my credit card statement yesterday and I saw 2 charges at the old rate again. I was like, motherfucker. So clearly that kind of scarcity mindset, because that kind of thing would normally trigger me into being like, it was a big part of the scarcity and fear around money and security and safety that I've been going through the past 3 months anyway. And so I'm not surprised that it came back around, because it was one of those triggers for me. And it was definitely a part of that story. And I wasn't surprised also that I learned about it around the Scorpio eclipse, you know, a few days after or whatever, but still in that same energy, which has been a lot of finance related stuff for not just me, but, you know, the collective. And so that came back around. But again, I was like, nope, I'm going to let this be easy. It's going to be easy and graceful and the highest joy, like whatever. And it was fine. Like I called in and I'm apparently getting a credit next month or whatever. Anyway, it's supposed to be fine. And I had a little image of, I work a lot with electronic spiders. I don't really know how to describe it, like electricity stuff or like old world banking type things. I work a lot with these sort of metallic looking spider things that kind of clear the way for me. I connect with them in some way and I'm like, please just help me make this, you know, you have a foot into the old system and I need help. And anyway, they kind of like smooth out some of the lines for me. And so when I was talking with the internet guy yesterday, I just saw one of the metallic spiders give me a thumbs up, which is hilarious because spiders don't have thumbs, but like it was clearly a thumbs up. I was like, okay, I'm going to trust that's fine. That we're all good. But the thing I was going to tell you about that was totally related to that. And I did show you the picture, but when I went to find the number for the internet company online, they had a Google Maps. It was like a contact us page. And so they had their phone number, email, and then they also had like where their office was listed, but they had a Google Maps image and it's in Texas, but all of the street names were showing up in Russian. And I was like, what the hell? So obviously you were like, oh my God, you're in 2 places at once. And I was like, totally, absolutely, that rings true. The other thing that hit me last night was that in the Oracle reading you did for me back in February or whenever that was, there was at least one Russian lifetime that came through. And I was like, you know what? I got to re-listen to that. I think this is telling me to re-listen to the Oracle, which I did last night. And as I was listening to it, I was like, I feel like this is now the activation time. Like you got it out to me early, so I knew what was coming and I could feel the delay. It was like, not a malicious delay or any, it was just like, she needs a breadcrumb, like give her these messages now so that she's not fucking freaking out, you know, the whole time. So I got the Oracle reading early about like, what is in store for me. And what not that it was early as in like I hadn't been working on it all along, because I think a lot of that stuff was, again, working on clearing out the lack programming and the lifetimes where I've, been destitute on purpose because I thought that was how I was supposed to be spiritual. Anyway, that kind of stuff. That wasn't the only message, but anyway, I knew I was working on clearing out a lot of that stuff. But anyway, now like the luxury and all the, anyway, it was really awesome to listen to that Oracle message again yesterday, because I was like, oh, this finally feels like what's happening now. Like I'm stepping into this lifestyle and comfort and communication, communication too, but like community and hive and just like really blossoming or whatever. So that felt really nice and like a good message from the universe. But yeah, go ahead.
The Oracle reading had to do with luxury and also communism, in the sense of like the gifts of communism, like the
community, taking care of each other,
exactly, all of that part as well, but very much connected to like feelings of like satisfaction and pleasure and luxury and like
so it was really cool to listen to that again, because again, and the last point I'll just bring up about the stuff that's been coming back around is the manipulation and gaslighting wound. Ever since Venus went into Cancer, which was Sunday, Venus is my time lord this year, so I really feel all of her transits. Ever since she went into Cancer on Sunday, I've been like on the verge of tears every day. And I can't figure out why. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, and part of that is, I think that was maybe just, emotional processing and releasing, and that's fine. But the thing that I also noticed that started coming back on Sunday was the emotional manipulation wound, the gaslighting, the trickery, all of the stuff that I have been clearing out and coming to terms with and like closing karmic loops around and feeling like I've been really settled. Like the last week has been amazing because I just feel super settled and calm and centered and like sure that everything good is happening and I don't mind waiting and I'm just like in my solid awesomeness. But then Sunday rolls around and I'm like, and I'm being tricked and the goalposts are being moved. And I was like, okay, these are the old stories. Mercury is asking, are you, one last review, do you want to attach to these or are you done with them for good? All right, I'm done talking now. Those are my Mercury retrograde themes. How about you?
Well, no, there was something in there that you said. Sorry, my computer is making a lot of noise. Usually when it starts doing that, it's like telling me to ground myself, that I'm overstimulating. Okay. It's like chill.
I'm gonna grab your staff, your wizard staff.
Yeah, my wizard staff. Okay, no, we're good.
Cool. Okay.
I am a bit ungrounded today. I'm gonna go ground myself later. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'll hold my staff.
Okay.
Why not? Am I right?
Yeah, baby.
No, I was just insanely distracting sound.
I can't hear anything.
Close tabs.
It's like you're inside my own brain. Close the dang tabs.
Yeah.
You don't need somebody open.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely that the a lot of that stuff coming up for review. But the theme that jumped out to me, sorry, I'm gonna just jump away from trying to figure out what I was gonna say in response to your thing. It's not coming to my brain.
Go for it. It'll come back if it's supposed to.
The theme that was jumping out to me was so it was, so, okay, do you remember when Marie Kondo was a big thing? And
Mhm.
so if anybody's hasn't heard of Marie Kondo, she's Japanese woman who had developed this approach to clearing out clutter and getting like letting go of belongings and tidying your house and getting things in order and stuff. And it had to do with really like coming into contact with the objects and like connecting with them. And the term she used was like, does this spark joy and stuff? And I was just, anyway, at the cultural level, I always feel like when something like that gets so big, no matter what it is, it's always pointing to like a message. So like, it's really interesting that we had that in those things of like, it became so saturated that people like, just became a meme and people started to like roll their eyes when they heard the word Marie Kondo, and it's like, does this spark joy? But it was like, that's how saturated it had to get that question.
Yeah.
And the theme was just even more removing stuff from my life. And that was unexpected to me. And I know, of course, now I remember, put a pin in early.
Okay.
I'll come
Early.
back to early.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I have to come back to what I was saying about Marie Kondo. Right, that of course, there's a lot during just the process of the spiritual awakening where you like let go of things, but you also bring so many things into your life. And yeah, I was expecting more of the review of like emotional stuff, like, are you done with these stories and these fears, which I had a lot of, continue to have a lot of. It's been like little trigger, big trigger, little trigger. But I just thought, you know, they were telling me like, you're at the end of this part of your journey. And I was like, right, I get it. But like, I didn't get how deep it was going to go. And I didn't understand how many parts of my spiritual journey that I was going to let go of. And so I've already been in the process of being like, okay, I know I don't want to do energy healing, one-on-one energy healing or that kind of work anymore. And then what came through just over the past few days was the oracle stuff too. And I was like, whoa, that was a big one for me because it was so tied up with like every stage of my awakening had to do with like, one of the very first things was like a big prophetic dreams and stuff, you know? And I realized that I kind of crystallized it into an identity when it's just something that I can choose or choose not to do. Anyway, I was like really gobsmacked when I was getting messages coming through to let go. Because I was like, and that's what's really interesting about the spiritual awakening is you discover all these fun things to play with, but then it's so easy and it's not like it's a problem, like experiment with them however you like, but it's really easy to slip into like, and this is my value as a person now is because I can do this, and like really get attached to being able to do that thing. And I was really like, I'm like, oh my God, who am I going to be if I can't, you know, if I'm not doing energy work anymore and I'm not an oracle, like, what the fuck am I?
Who am I?
Like spiritually. And it's been scary. I've been having, and I heard like 90%. I like numbers and stuff. That kind of structure always really helps me. So it was like 90%. So I still have to sit with that and kind of just feel into like, what's the 10% that's remaining? And I know it's all like connected to like desire and fun. It's like, what feels fun, which is another interesting aspect because I think once you get a certain attachment to doing things, you sort of, or at least I do, or it's very possible to like lose your ability to know if you're actually enjoying something because you're like, well,
I have that too. Yeah.
It's a magical thing that I do. So of course I'm enjoying it. It's like, well,
yeah.
But are you? Or are you feeling really tired?
Yeah.
And ever since our big that oracle reading I did, I just haven't felt like I haven't felt like make any more cards. I had somebody scheduled for, I did yours,
Mhm.
but then I had someone else scheduled, and I just ended up last week being like, no, I'm not doing this right now. I can't do it. And I haven't done them for myself, which is like,
Yeah.
and they keep telling me that it's like, well, you let go of those things, you make room for other things to come in. But it is a jump where I'm like,
Yeah. When you were talking about 90%, do you mean letting go 90% of who you are and holding on to 10%, or what was that?
Sorry, yeah, that wasn't clear. Letting go of 90% of my oracle activities.
Oh, of your oracle. Okay.
Yeah, the stuff that I do that's like oracle-y, which I even have to sift through, because I mean, when I talk about like there's oracle, and there's also just like the way that my environment constantly is in communication, like just like every second of the day I'm receiving feedback messages, and it's basically goes along with this thing of like, you've reached the point now that you're in the amusement park, aka paradise, aka heaven, whatever, that internal state. It's like, why would you need to know what was coming? Because it's all good. Like you can just relax and just have things come to you and be surprised, and like, just pursue things and whatever. And anyway, it's a big adjustment, and I wasn't expecting it. Like, I just feel like I'm being completely emptied out, because after all this time, and like so many friendships have been like,
oh my God,
restricted down to almost nothing, or friendships that I've left. And then it's like, I'm like, what is my life anymore? But it was like I was just filling my time with a lot of this stuff.
I know.
And it feels like I was not expecting. I was like, it's Mercury retrograde. I've already done whatever. And then it was like,
same.
oh, no.
Same. Oh my
like
God.
a lot more to let go of.
I love how our messages we keep getting messages to relax and enjoy shit, and both of us are like, how do you do that? I don't, like, part of me really can. That was, I've been really enjoying sleeping in and just not getting out of my pajamas all day. Like, part of me really, really revels in that. But there is a part that is still so uptight about doing stuff or not relaxing, or just being not on guard, but like being alert or something to like, okay, what am I gonna
alert?
What do you mean? I just can't. The alertness is really killing me, which is, and again, I'm at a place where I can notice that I am on alert, and I'm not, even if it's uncomfortable and I wish I wouldn't do that, it's like, I'm not trying to change it right now. I'm just observing it. I'm like, okay, well, here I am again, being uptight or on alert or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, that's just happening. And I might not love it, but I need to make sure that I don't push myself to do something that's not fucking comfortable, because that's not going to work either. So it's a lot of just sort of sitting in discomfort, but also it's not as bad right now as it has been the last, I would say January through March was like, it felt fiery. And this one, like, and I mean, in the middle of something that could melt your bones type of fire, like that heat, like just crazy intense heat. But this fieriness feels more like a bonfire. Like, you don't love sitting in the flame still, maybe, but it's not overwhelming. You can at least see that the flames don't go to infinity. You can see that they have a limit or whatever. I don't know how to, if that makes any sense, but it just feels a little bit.
For me, it's
less.
all water.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Like, there was a period a few weeks ago where our local river was so high all the time, and Mike kept being like, wow, the river's still so high. And I was like, I know, it's my freaking emotional state. But I feel like I don't even feel like, it's not even like I feel a lot about it. I feel very relaxed, but I was just like, whoa, I wasn't expecting
Mhm.
to take even more aspects of myself away.
Yeah.
And that's again with the Marie Kondo, that message was such a metaphor. It was like everyone or almost everyone is doing way too much. We're all doing way too much, and we are taking on way too much, and we have way too much sensory input in our lives. And we're not aware of how much it's draining us, and like, and how much of it we actually, there's things where it's like you feel like you need stuff to balance out the other stuff that you have to do that you don't like doing, but you, it's like the more you peel away, the more you're like, I don't even need that, which is a trip. It's such a trip. And it's just such a trip. The more you peel away of things that you don't want to do, the more you find more things that you don't want to do. And that is a real trip. That is like
My
very,
God.
very trippy. Because you'll be like, okay, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're doing a big step in your life. You're like, God, you know, I'm not going to volunteer at this place anymore. It's just become a drag. You know, I'm taking that off my plate. And then, and you're like, that's going to make a huge difference. And then it does. And then you're immediately like, oh shit, I can't be friends with this person anymore. Like, it's like, it's just going to immediately point the arrow towards the next thing. That's like, nope.
Yeah. It's pretty wild the way we've been completely cleaned out. And that I feel like some of this stuff is being cleaned out so that we do get back to zero, so that when we come back into doing things, or we're represented with stuff from the past that, you know, we thought we had to let go of forever, or whatever it is, it's like, just come back to it fresh. Like maybe even friendships or things you used to do that you took off your plate, or had to get out of the friendship, or whatever it is. It's like, that doesn't mean it can't come back. That just means you need to be, not you, but well, all of it. Like, I'm just saying, the message is like, you have to be completely just brought back to neutrality in a way, and just squeezed out of all the gunk and the there was another thing that you, oh yeah, sorry, in order to like continue fresh, I can never finish the thought, but there was another thing you were talking about. Oh my God. It made me think of something, and now I can't freaking remember. Well, I guess if it comes back, it comes back. Dang.
What
Was an important part.
what happened
anyway.
yesterday that was really nice though. So, okay, first I'll talk about the other thing, the early, which was when
I was
you were
just gonna,
talking
okay,
about when you got the message, the oracle message from me. It was early. That just makes, so when you, it was like a few months ago, you kept getting messages that we were early. And now I'm like, oh, we were literally early, because like February, March, and April were not the time when these things were going to be happening. It's like we were literally going to have the feeling of hanging around early and like just feeling like really,
wow. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That resonates. That resonates.
So it's like, no wonder we like it's the linear time aspect.
Yeah.
That it's also such an adjustment, and moving with the seasons, and like bringing in this earth energy which moves so slowly, and we move with the seasons, and things happen in a really cyclical way. And it's like getting to know that, and the impatience that brings.
So much
And
impatience.
that's why also it was like, just rest, keep resting. And
it's like, shit, more.
And I was like, you know, but it was like the unknown of like, well, in the trust of like, something is going to come after all of this resting, and it is now, it is coming.
Yeah.
But so yesterday, so anyway, part of that earliness was kept hearing these messages. It's done. You've completed it. You've already finished this awakening process. You've already made the leap. You've already done your ascension journey. Like, you're done. And we both had that feeling like when you finish your school term and you just can't relax, and you know everything's done, you've handed in all the assignments, but you're like and like kept being like, especially because our assignments are so open-ended, it's like, well, I could still work on this assignment that I gave myself, that I assigned to myself, because I don't feel like I completed it enough. Anyway, so in February I had a little taste of this feeling, but yesterday I was just woke up and was walking around, and suddenly I found myself saying, I was like, I did it, it's done, I did it. And I started crying, and I just had the feeling, like I actually had the feeling of having completed, and it felt so good. And then I was saying, we did it. And I grabbed the wizards and I was like, whoa, like just be in this feeling, because it's such a nice feeling. And it was like, you did it, you actually did it. It felt great. And then I went on a really long walk by the river, and
feels nice.
I was having those epiphanies about the oracle stuff, and then the phrase came through, because when people ask me, I'm still doing some, I think, just like it's a little bit of like spectrum stuff of not wanting to get into certain conversations with people. But when people ask, like if I meet someone, they're like, what do you do? I'll say I'm a writer and I write children's books.
That's so cool.
But it's just another way to be like, don't worry, I fit in. I'm not that kind of thing. But I don't have the energy always, and that's fine. It's fine. But what came through as like what I should say, or not what I should say, but what came through as an alternate phrase was, I'm retired, but I write children's stories for fun.
Oh my God, I was like, I love you so much.
Like, I'm retired, and I do things for fun now. And it like, that was like, even though I've been like totally on board since the beginning with the messages of like, we're just here to play and blah, blah, blah. It felt, that is like the most transgressive thing I've said out loud. I was just saying it out loud by the river. I was like, I'm retired. Like, I just felt like,
oh my God,
was such a controversial thing to actually say. Like,
spicy takes with the Space Kittens.
But I'm retired, and I'm not looking for more work. I'm looking for
more play.
And that includes spiritual stuff that I thought I was going to be doing, and that turned out not to be long term, or at least for now, it's not feeling whatever. So it's like, retired from all of it, retired from healing myself, retired.
I'm actually just now realizing these are probably messages you left in the group chat that I haven't listened to yet. So I'm like reacting in real time, and I'm going to be able to listen to them again when we hang up and I go in and listen to the messages. Cause I feel like I saw a notification of like audio notes and something about retire. Anyway. Okay. So this is really cool to be hearing live. Actually, I think I must have waited for a reason. Because that's what I keep, that made me so happy to hear that, because it just ties more into the messages I've been getting about being a warrior in the garden. And like, I don't have any idea what this new chapter is going to look like how restful it's going to be, how joyful, how little I do. And I can't fathom that, because I don't know how to turn off from doing things. And so that's why this on alertness has gotten again, it's not as bad as it has been, so I shouldn't like make it, crazy, but I just also, it's weird to me too, because my human design, I have left angle cross of industry or something like that. And that's like here to like be industrious, to do a lot of things. And I don't know, there's a healthy way of doing that. It doesn't mean I'm not going to, have projects to work on and all that stuff, but I've had an imbalanced relationship with that, where I have been constantly doing, we all have, but like it has felt good to me to be imbalanced in that, because it felt like I was fulfilling my purpose. And now it's like this slowness, this restfulness is just totally against my nature, even though that's all I really want to do. How many times have I said when I've been the busiest where I'm like, I could sleep for 10 years. And it's like, well, you've had almost a year now to, not really almost a year, but like you've been sleeping a lot and you've had the opportunity to sleep. And it's, anyway, I don't know. It really feels good to hear that about that retirement, because again, with that, the download I had about the, you know, the Orion Wars and how the Black League resistance group that we were a part of, this is our victory lap. This is our lifetime of, you've had so many lifetimes of being a warrior and doing all these crazy fucking things all the time. And it's like, now you get to just be. And I think I must have just had so many freaking lifetimes doing that now I just can't see how it's going to be, but I'm still excited about it because it feels like what I want to be doing. I just am clearing out the rest of those programs that are telling me that I can't just relax or whatever it is.
Can't just relax. Yeah.
And be taken care of. That's what you like, the retired part too. Like when you think about being retired, it's, you know, you're no longer, quote unquote, in the old game, it would be like, you're no longer contributing to society. People are taking care of you, or, you know, whatever it is. And it feels more independent than that, but also at the same time, we're still being taken care of. I don't know. It's a really cool vibe, and I can't quite put words to.
Yeah. It's like all the things, it's like the daddy energy too. It's like, it's the similar thing to how it just reminds me of when I was like, I feel like adult is a category we just invented as humans.
Yeah.
But what there really feels like is there's child and elder,
Mm-hmm.
and you're both, and you can be both at the same time and stuff, but they're both categories where you're just taken care of. Like that's,
yeah.
And I think it's just still, people have trouble imagining what that looks like without imagining a system where someone's going to be responsible for the caretaking who's not going to get, you know, and it's like they create like some unjust system or something. And it's just like, you know, literally like living in balance with the earth and being taken care of by the earth is so much easier. And there are so many pathways towards it where it's, and it just, we're just having trouble seeing it. And we just create, like we create fear. We have threshold guardians around it, like of like, oh, it will be whatever. But it's like, no, we're moving towards that as a species.
Yep. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that I'm
like
also just like,
people feel like I think there's a whole thing where people feel like the only thing that's keeping them, that keeps humanity doing certain tasks is a sense of duty and obligation. And it's like, actually, there's lots of stuff that we just love to do, and it's not work for us, except for like we end up turning it into work and we pile other things on top. But when we strip all that away, we have the energy and we happily do things that we happily participate in the exchange. And like it's just a funny thing, like when people get so hung up on like doing less, as though if they actually for a second allowed themselves to do less, like they would never do anything again.
I've had those
fears. Would also be fine. We could all just exist, and like there's that plane of existence where you literally are just like vibing. But it's like people don't come to Earth for that. That's very unlikely. You're like literally never going to just be in relation with anyone else, or or be in any kind of like energetic exchange with others on the planet again, if you just allow yourself to rest more and take things off your plate. It's that's not gonna
Exactly.
happen. Don't worry.
Well, I also think some of that uptightness is about keeping society the way it always has been. And it's like, oh, if people don't fulfill these certain roles, we're not going to have this certain society. And I'm like, yeah, we're moving to a whole new society. And some of the things that we do now or that we have now don't need to be done or don't need to exist, like there's certain things. We're in a period of evolution, so it's like we're going to find new ways of living and new inventions that keep life a little bit easier or more smooth, or I don't know. We're here to invent new things and new ways of living, and we're not supposed to uphold the old stuff, partly because it was a false matrix anyway. But even if we'd always been in the natural matrix, it's like even that has evolution. There's stuff that we come here to invent stuff and create things, and like sometimes that our inventions or whatever cause other things, not problems necessarily, but like there are consequences and things you do. So it's like, oh, we created this thing and that thing happened, so let's focus on this thing, and then it just kind of naturally starts to flow into this pattern of things that you get to work on and mold into a fun existence. So it's going to look different, and it's hard to let go of what you've always known, especially because that fear. Such a pervasive emotion in this matrix.
Yeah. It was really cute when you were at your women's circle. You sent me a video of a really cute plump raccoon climbing a ladder up the side of the house.
It was so funny. Yeah. And then I immediately the next day had a raccoon at I've seen the raccoon before, but I've never actually filmed it. And I was like, ooh, of course, Guinan is just like, hey, come on up and eat the bird seeds. That's fine. Like, he didn't seem to have any problem with the raccoon at all. For some reason, I thought the cats would not like it. I know. I'm really happy that I'm happy there's no fights or whatever. But I was like, really, Guinan? You're gonna let this I was like, actually, maybe he should just be here. I don't fucking know. So I got a few second clip of him eating some of the bird seeds to send to
well,
Daddy Cat.
Raccoons they're opportunists, right? So
and they also like trash, just like me.
They like trash, but I feel like they're very good at like they take what they need from whatever their surrounding is, and they make it work, and they just take what they need, and they're quite bold about it.
Yeah, and so cute and chubby and fluffy.
I love raccoons. Oh my God, how much I love raccoons. And they are magical as fuck. We had last year specifically, there's a very weird tree in our neighbor's yard that we can see from our deck. And it's like, it's very flat and it goes out. But in the winter, you can see exactly its structure. So you can see that it has branches that go up and then it has other ones, but they're so thin. Cut to the summer where it's full of leaves and like 7 or 8 raccoons are materializing out of the tree, but literally at the tips of a branch that's like a branch that would droop under the weight of my hand gently pushing in it. And they're like standing on, like a full raccoon is like standing on the edge. It was some crouching tiger, hidden dragon.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, they are doing something.
Oh, that's cool.
The way that they move, and they can like flatten themselves and materialize through little tiny cracks too. Anyway, they're very magical little beings. I mean, all animals are, but it was just really trippy to see them. I was like, you guys are little.
That's wild.
Ninjas.
I mean, yeah. The animal kingdom, all of nature has so many things to teach us about what is possible to do. We're just kind of now tuning back into that. It's really fun to witness it.
So if you're listening to this and you don't feel like you're retired, if you feel like your retirement is here, if this is resonating, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you
Drink to
feel
that.
like maybe it's coming down the pipe and you're hearing this now to like prep you.
Mhm. Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. And I don't know, I feel like I've been getting retirement messages since, like, gradual stages of them since early 2022.
Me too.
And it
Me
takes a
too.
while. It can take a long time. And then you're
Yeah.
like, and the reason you retire is for fun. It's not because you have to retire.
Yeah.
Like, at least, you know, it's like,
Mhm.
I just
What
feel
you
like
want.
there's a lot of people who are like one last heist kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
One last heist.
fine.
Amazing.
But yeah, the retirement energy is there. Raccoons are,
Mhm.
I don't know, they're a good guide for
Mhm.
just receiving. They're good
Yeah.
at like receiving.
Mhm. And the daddy energy taking care of
Daddy
us.
energy. Yeah.
So happy about that.
See how daddy energy is coming. It can be like big government, like it can be a lot of
Mhm.
things. Daddy energy that can come through. It can be very literally
Your own dad.
or a father figure.
Yeah.
In your life. It can be a sugar daddy for sure.
Mhm.
It can be all sorts of things, but anyway, keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
And tune in next time. And we just released a couple of new full-length episodes. There's one about neurodivergence, and the Atlantis timeline. Oh, next time on the morning show, I'm gonna give an update about the Atlantis thing. That's fun. But
can we record more than one in 1 week? Because I want to hear this too.
Yes. I feel like we can for sure.
Okay.
And then there's another one about superpowers, which is really, go listen to that one if you feel like being activated, because we were very aware that was full of activation codes in transmissions. So if you feel like activating superpowers,
yeah.
Which also I realized that's why we were talking about them, because I was letting go of so many of them. So naturally they're looking around for some new homes as well. The energy is like, hey, anybody want to host me for a while?
Yeah. So nice. I actually, before I say goodbye, I wanted to show you my
my God.
My friend Ellen. My friend Ellen knitted this. She came up with this is the first one she made with a hat on it. Like the pattern is something that she found online or whatever, but as she has made more and more and more of these, like they keep getting just very Ellen, like she'll add, anyway, because this is the one that she made for me. And I decided, his name is Pierre. This is the frog, by the way, for anyone who's not watching the video. It's a cute little frog with a little sweater and a beanie. And he just looks like Pierre. He is Pierre. Knitted, and so that when knitted. And she, as soon as, I don't know, like the next one that I saw her post on Instagram after I said that his name is Pierre, she literally created another one with like, she invented, had a little mustache, knitted mustache on it and painted like a little, toothpick for a cigarette. Anyway, it was just like she just does so many fun things. And he's been sitting here hanging out but I haven't put him on video yet. So I thought the frog Pierre. Energy is chilling with us. And Pierre is just
special guest Pierre.
Anyway, so yeah, Pierre is hanging out with us.
Like friends. Frogs are friends. Frogs do rest and renewal. Total chilling out energy. Yep. Oh, Pierre, I love you.
Yeah, Pierre just hanging out, saying hello. So yeah, frog energy to the rescue. Not to the rescue. I don't know, to the party.
Party. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's what a great sign out.
Yeah.
Bye, Space Kittens. Catch
Bye-bye.
you very soon.
Love you.